Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, certificates of completion and awards. I have one certificate of completion right here. It's a certificate of completion, Genevieve Martinez has successfully completed tax cyber security awareness training 2021, certified this 3/26/2021. Is there any more?
No, sir, that is it.
And we have another thing that's on the certificates of completion and awards, is telecommunications week. And most of the dispatchers are here. They have, I want to make a comment, they have probably one of the most difficult jobs in law enforcement. They get to talk to somebody on the phone that calls in that is scared, confused, and not knowing what to do, and they get to try to take a message from that person and relay it to a deputy out on the road somewhere, go here and this is what you're gonna be dealing with. That's very difficult. I've seen it over the years. I used to work there, and that was one of the difficult jobs, and I appreciate what y'all are doing and how y'all do it. It's outstanding. Sheriff Stewart, would you like to?
I'm gonna read this proclamation from the governor. From the governor's office of the state of Texas. Across the state, public safety telecommunications act as our unseen first responders. These men and women continually serve our community and help save lives every day. These professionals, which include 911 operators, dispatchers, and other communication specialists, answer calls for help and use their high-quality communication and decision-making skills, address the needs of the caller according to specific challenges raised by their emergency. Not only do they maintain the calm, professional, and disciplined demeanor that handle a 911 call requires, but these first responders also think and rapidly respond to crisis situations, and often lend a helping, supporting voice to reassure frightened, upset, and confused callers. As we have faced the unprecedented challenges of the novel coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, public safety telecommunications have remained unwavering in their dedication to providing essential services to Texans in need during these difficult and distressing times. Telecommunications communicators answer 911 calls, with a large percentage of those calls coming from wireless phones. The Commission on State Emergency Communications work with telecommunications and local state governments to ensure Texans have reliable access to emergency telecommunication services. Every year, the Commission designates a week in April for an awareness campaign to highlight and maintain contributions and achievements of public safety telecommunications and their importance in the public safety framework of the Lone Star State. At this time, I encourage all Texans to learn more about the vital role these professionals play in our everyday lives, and to extend the appreciation to the public safety telecommunications. Their strength and expertise in times of crisis ensure Texans receive the help they need when they need it most. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, declare this week, April 11th through the 17th, Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Signed, Greg Abbott, Governor of the State of Texas. And with that, I would like to bring these people forward. First, Nita Harrell, Supervisor, Telecommunications Operations and Working.
Norma Sellers. Leslie, she's answering 911 calls right now. Leslie Garza.
I can accept for.
Ashley Macias. Rebecca Bettis. Vanessa Trevino. Annalise Alice Rocha, she's answering 911 calls. Lisa Montgomery. Elva Camarillo. Avery Jusquina. Sean Damiani. Amy Medina. Sarah Hernandez. And then I'd like Chief Garza to come up and take a picture with us. Just try it in, I guess. Get closer.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Sir.
The Blues. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, moving along to agenda item number 5, extension activity reports, the handout. Anybody got any comments or questions?
Like old times, but there's still some good.
Yes. We've got a full staff now. Take it back. Got one on maternity leave. Okay, moving to agenda item number 6, Wichita Jackson County Judge Carlo Munoz Wilson Advocate, discuss and take action on National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, April 2021. And we have Jennifer Fernandez with us. She is the head of the Guadalupe County Family Violence.
Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter.
Okay, and she has an office here in Wilson County.
Yes.
Whereas every 73 seconds, another person in the United States is sexually assaulted, and in Texas, 2 in 5 women and 1 in 5 men are victims of sexual assault. Whereas according to a study conducted by the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault and the University of Texas at Austin School of Social Work, approximately 6.3 million Texans have been sexually victimized. Whereas most victims are
thing that y'all do. I know it's good, and when y'all brought the office over here, that was a step above and beyond. That way the victims here in Wilson County will have a place to not have to go to, and not that Guadalupe County doesn't have a good shelter, but, and I know that's where they'll go, or the end process, but at least we get them started here. Thank you for what y'all do.
Make a motion, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle, second by Commissioner Wiley. Accept the proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month of April. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Y'all want a picture?
Yes, please.
I was smiling.
Drop it for the picture, at least to see you smiling.
My ears go up.
You couldn't tell I was smiling? Okay, moving to agenda item number 7, Richard O. Jackson County Judge, discuss and take action on the interlocal agreement for performance of postmortem examinations for Wilson County, Texas by the Nueces County Medical Examiner. Okay. It's pretty much the same thing as we okayed for that emergency. I saw something on here that you had a note on this, Catherine.
Was it about when Brenda signed, when she had signed? This is the same document that I, gave to all the commissioners, I think 2 weeks ago. We just had to retype it
Okay.
completely.
And
So
this
there
is,
are no changes except Brenda put, dollar amounts in it.
what's this 75,000 added here on,
That's my part that I had to put in on what's budgeted.
okay, so we have that, okay. Okay. I have word that Bear County is gonna start accepting outside, people from outside autopsy from the surrounding counties, so if we can get back in there, that would be great.
This
And I
may
think-
just need to be a backup.
And yes, we need to have this anyway in case something like this happens again. Hopefully it's not another, what caused the other one was, I think their log over from the freeze. They got backlogged from that.
Judge, did you find out if we're gonna have, remember you sent me another one that had a name in it? Are we gonna have to do it every time?
No, that was just because they wouldn't have accepted that one if when our JP called down there,
Oh,
they didn't know that we didn't have an
Oh,
agreement with
so
them,
that was the
and so
emergency.
he just went ahead and accepted it.
okay,
That's the reason.
Okay.
they have to- How they handle it is they have to okay each one of them through Commissioner's
Mhm.
Court, so they had to send that back up. So, and we have already sent that back, and now we'll send this down to them, so if we have to do it again, they can accept it and not have to worry about it. I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with, for the performance of postmortem examinations for Wilson County by the Nueces County Medical Examiner.
motion by Commissioner Morton, second by Commissioner Fredola, that we accept the interlocal agreement with Nueces County for postmortem examinations autopsy. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? agenda item number 8. Richard L. Jackson County Judge discuss and potential action shall occur regarding fire alarm monitoring renewal, fire alarm functioning testing renewal, fire alarm repair and labor for Wilson County Courthouse, District Justice Center, and the Sam Ford Jr. Public Library. John?
Hello, this is a yearly recurring contract, basically, that, where we have our monitoring with the fire alarm company. And they monitor the equipment, they test the equipment, they have to come out regularly. And this is also to be in compliance with the jail standards, particularly at the District Justice Center. And the fire alarm testing, which is kind of necessary, is for the library is $1,235. For the District Justice Center is $2,044. I'm sorry, that's the testing, yes. And then the testing at the courthouse is $1,297. At the library, the repair, and this is optional, is $643. Repair at the District Justice Center is $1,079, and repair at the courthouse is $687. Even though those are optional, I do recommend them. Otherwise, we end up in a substantial cost in the event of a outage or a problem that needs to be repaired. And then the monitoring, and this is actually probably the most critical part of it, because this is where they monitor the fire alarm and report. They contact our dispatch in the event of a fire or a system failure. And that is $550 at the library, $550 at the District Justice Center, and $550 at the courthouse. The grand total is $8,635 for fire alarm testing, repair, and monitoring for the library. That's the Sam Ford Jr. Library, the District Justice Center, and the courthouse.
It's a budgeted item, so I'm not sure why, I guess it's just renewal of the contract.
Sir?
Oh, I said it's a budgeted item,
Right.
so it's
Yes,
just
and
a
it's
renewal
not-
of the contract.
And that's with,
There's a note here that says, ask if, because this is a little higher than last year, but there is enough money budgeted.
So the repair, is that like an insurance policy against something going wrong, or?
Right, if there's certain equipment, failures or problems, they'll repair them. A sensor goes out or something to that effect.
and that has happened before, where they've come out and repaired. Especially at the district court. That's with the same company?
Yes. I think you worked with them before, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, it's Beckwith.
Beckwith?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle,
Second.
second by Commissioner Martin. We approve the agreements with Beckwith Electric Engineering Company, Electronic Engineering Company. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we have a new contract. Let me get these signed and get them to Eva right quick. Okay, we'll just go to the next agenda item and I'll sign those in a second. Okay, agenda item number 9. Gary Martin, our Commissioner, Precinct 1, discuss and take action to appoint Tim Wilson as ESD number 2 Commissioner.
Okay, as y'all remember, we had the passing of Larry Phillips earlier this year, which created a vacant position for an ESD 2 commissioner. I've interviewed Mr. Wilson. He's a very fine young man. He actually lives in Precinct 1. He has experience with municipal government and also in the forming of an ESD in Bexar County. So I recommend that we appoint Mr. Wilson as an ESD commissioner. He works for CPS Energy, so he works 410s. He's not here today. That's why he's not here. He knows he'll come and see the judge probably Friday when he's off to get sworn into office. And Commissioner Whitek from ESD 2 is here this morning representing ESD 2.
Did you make a motion?
I will. I make a motion to appoint Tim Wilson as ESD2 Commissioner.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Wiley, that we appoint Tim Wilson as ESD2 Commissioner. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. So we have a new commissioner. We'll get him sworn in whenever he gets an opportunity. Okay, agenda item number 10, Richard L. Jackson, County Judge. Okay, take action on presentations by Eagleford Signs and Budget Signs. Okay, we'll
Send
start.
these again, 'cause I don't know if y'all had.
Yeah,
your
I didn't bring them
copies.
with me, so I'd like one.
Okay, are you gonna go first? Okay, just for, budget signs, if y'all would step out and let Mr. Miller present his, and we'll do the same courtesy for y'all.
Several months ago, I guess it was almost July or August of last year, I was approached by Commissioner File to put together a proposal for a digital sign for the community center, Expo and Community Center. I worked with Harry Grove and designed keypads for that logo. Next slide, please. We put together a proposal that was a complete sign package that includes standardized engineering, the electrical, the digital electrical messaging center, and a permanent two-sided sign. Next slide. By standardized engineering, as a member of the International Sign Association and the Texas Sign Association, we have some standardized engineering that's already approved by the city of San Antonio. That includes things like height to load center, is it gonna be tolerate the wind, how deep does it have to go, what type of steel do we have to use, what are the concrete pieces? We follow all of those standardized engineering in this proposal. Next slide. The electrical, we are a licensed electrical sign contractor. All the work will be done by electricians, and all the code requirements will be there. We'll include a photoelectric cell to the permanent sign, so it's not lit during the daytime. It turns on at night, etc. Next. The digital messaging center. I know there was some confusion over the distance, the multiple proposals or two proposals that you adopted. When they talk about the resolution or pixels of a digital sign, it's how close are they? There's three little diodes, a red one, a green one, and a blue one. And how far apart they are defines the resolution. The more of those little clusters of diodes that you have, the sharper the image. Next slide. So if we compare a 10, 15, and 20 millimeter pixel resolution, this is kind of gives you an idea of this. But it talks about the readability zone. That was calculated based on a 55-mile-an-hour traffic for a sign that sits 25 feet off of the road. This one will be a little bit closer to the road. It doesn't seem like a lot, but at 55 miles an hour, you're going 80.67 feet per second. So you'll see a 15 millimeter sign 6% faster than you will see a 20 millimeter sign. Next slide. We chose impact LED signs for the digital messaging center. You can look at this with 3 key points on it. It's a 10,000 nit brightness. That's pretty much standardized in digital signs. But to give you some idea, it's 20 times brighter than an LCD TV. This one supports 60 frames per second, so you can watch video. Okay, just like you would be watching on a television. The IP67 rating is the weatherproof rating. And the first number talks about solids, the second number talks about liquids. At 6, it's protected from total dust and ingress, sealed. At 7, for the liquid, it's protected from immersion between 15 centimeters and 1 meter put it underwater. Next slide. The one we have proposed is a 15-millimeter sign. The key, a couple of key points on this slide is that the cabinet is 4 foot by 10 foot, and the active viewing area is 4 foot by 10 foot. There's no trim hiding it out, so this is a 100% pure visible digital sign. It includes a sensor so it dims at night, which is a requirement. Next slide. They have some of the industry's leading modules. You can look at that. A couple of big points in there is the dual redundant data ports, dual redundant power points. If these modules ever fail, and we've driven down the road and we've seen digital messaging centers with modules out, okay, it is either the data point or the power point. By putting in dual redundant points, it's an easy, quick fix. Next slide. The impact system comes with a 4G plan that has a 5-year data plan. You can get to it from a phone, from a tablet, from a computer. It includes training, lifetime support on that. You can have multiple people access the sign. You could have tiers of administrator access, user access, etc. Next slide. Included in our proposal is the ventilated side covers, meaning this will look like a total box. We've seen the digital signs where it's on one side of the pole and another side of the pole, and you have the space in between them. Birds get in there, and it's not aesthetically pleasing driving down the road. Impact has a vandalism, storm, and lightning warranty. They'll cover a deductible. The sign is vandalized or damaged. Includes 5-year parts warranty, a spare parts kit, and lifetime technical support. Next slide. The permanent sign is a 2 foot by 10 foot flat sign that will mount on top of the digital sign. It is LED lit, and as I said before, it has a photoelectric circuit, and it will have a required electrical service too. When I originally proposed this, we were, I don't remember what the total was, but today we're $47,900, which was a little less than what was on the original proposal on this thing. Terms 50%, 25%, 25%. There's some options on there if you want to downgrade the resolution or increase the resolution, increase the data plan from 5 years to a lifetime plan, which I don't recommend, because the data plans on all of these programs have changed dramatically over the last 5 years. 5 years ago, you had to pay an annual premium. Now all of a sudden they've changed it to a 5-year plan or a lifetime plan. I don't know what it's going to be in 5 years. We've all seen this technology change. Next slide. Eagle Form signs, we're based here in Wilson County. We've been here we're in our 18th year in Wilson County. The money you spend with Eagle Ford signs goes to employees who live in Wilson County, to a company that supports our organization. As I said before, we're a Texas licensed electrical sign contractor. We're regulated by the regulations. We are veteran owned, and as I said earlier, we're members of the Texas Sign Association.
How many people are employed by your company?
All residents of Wilson County. Like, correct that. One is a resident of Atascosa.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, sir.
And actually, maybe this is for some of that, since I'm new, I don't know when this started. This graphic that's shown for the Expo Center, is that our actual graphic that, or do we need to look at that?
What's that?
The logo.
The logo?
Logo, that's our logo.
The what about the logo? The
Is,
logo
is this an established
yes,
logo? Okay.
we approved that last year sometime in commission, I forget what it was. It was designed by Harry Grove.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I can give you this. This has got slides on it.
What is the deductible?
It's up to $5,000. That they will reimburse the county. It's not a deductible on the sign. The warranty says they will reimburse deductible, the property insurance would cover any, lightning damage, subject to a deductible. They'll repay you that deductible up to $5,000.
The other
The other thing I would recommend that's
If we had
not
to
in
file
the
a claim.
design are bollards.
I'll ask you.
The base of that sign, we've all seen signs hit, and even though it's gonna be in concrete, 6 feet deep, I think is what the specs call for, and it's 1/4 inch steel, if somebody hits that sign, that's a problem. You can put 4 bollards around it, and that would protect it.
Well, it's gonna be, we need something to protect this if we're gonna just have the one leg for the sign standing out there.
So in this vandalism, storm and lightning warranty, do we deal with you or will we be dealing with
You would
them?
be dealing with Imaging, or Impact LED, excuse me. It's a manufacturer's warranty, part of the manufacturer's warranty.
As far as the training, how is that, working there? Like,
It's all,
who programs the sign and who would?
that's what the training is, and it's all online training. You can do it one time, you can do it 100. And it's all live with the technical support available.
So we would designate someone in the county to do like that.
The administrator of it, and then the administrator can say, okay, user 1 has the ability to adjust the schedule but not put in any picture. Users 2 can do this level of things, so you can set it up with multiple tiers of usage.
Mr. Miller,
Yes,
have you installed digital sign like this in the county?
In Wilson County, no. In Bear County and Guadalupe County and Carson. We're at several requests for them. The price has been prohibited until recently. The prices are starting to come down. The other thing I would point out about Impact LED is it's a US based.
So they do the, Impact does the
Only 2
installation,
companies
so
that are US made LEDs. Watchfire.
No, he buys it from them and he puts it up.
so they do, him and his 5 people do the actual installation?
Mhm.
That's not what it sounds like, so.
Sorry, I mean, is there like a service or maintenance?
You call me. You call me, for the 5 years that the manufacturer's covering the parts, I'm gonna cover any of the services.
So you and your team are the ones who do the actual installation, not Impact LED?
No, we do the installation, Impact LED manufactures the sign.
Okay.
And in this package, unlike other signs that we've done, where it's been piecemeal, where somebody would manufacture the sign component, the LED manufacturer manufactures the LED, a third-party manufactures the trim out on it. In this case, it's 100% manufactured by Impact LED, and they ship it to me complete, and we install and do the electrical. That way it is a 100%, everything matches. We've all affected projects from multiple manufacturers where things don't line up, and that's why I like this company.
So for the first 5 years, maintenance, meaning if we have a problem of some sort, we go to you to do, and is that covered by the warranty associated with it?
The manufacturer covers the parts, okay? We'll do the service, okay? If there's anything beyond that, if there's a significant piece of it, we'll advise the county, but there should be no issues.
And after 5 years?
After 5 years, there is no warranty.
How long do
So
these
we're on
signs
our own, but
typically
you're
last?
still around to
I'm still here,
provide the service.
and you will have a spare parts kit. So if something does go out after the warranty, you have those parts.
What was your question?
I was curious how long a sign typical like this lasts in terms of, is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
LEDs typically are rated for 13,500 hours.
Okay.
A typical LED diode is generally rated at 13,500. So if it's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 years.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Holcomb, do you have any concerns? Since that you'll be the administrator?
Okay, I haven't actually seen I haven't seen any of the
Well,
proposals
maybe
or
Christina,
anything.
because she's the
But
show
it
home
sounds,
administrator.
it sounds good to me, as far as connectivity, it sounds like that's actually worked out already, or
But yeah,
it's,
we would set you up as the administrator with the login on it. Okay, it'd be pre-programmed, some standardized, art, you have access, an art library associated with the subscription, many templates to go with, and then from there, you could assign users.
how does it connect back? Does it connect through our network, or does
No.
it connect through a cellular service?
Through a
sometime?
cellular plan, yes, a 4G cellular plan.
Okay, is that included in
Yes,
the
it is.
pricing?
Yes, it is. 5-year plan is included.
And I guess we'll figure out the price after the 5 years.
Well, I think that, you can, for $1,000, you can get a lifetime cellular plan. I think it's $1,000. And they'll give you a lifetime cellular plan. But as I said in my presentation, technology is changing so rapidly that we may have another means of communicating with the sign, and we spend $1,000 on a lifetime cellular plan, and now we're gonna go to option B. You know, I'd be more than glad to do that, but it's just not right.
Okay, and is it an option for us to connect it with like a Wi-Fi connection that nearby building if it's
Yes.
available, or
Yes.
instead of using cellular?
Yes.
Want to do that? Okay, thank you.
Ms. Moots, you have any questions?
I don't think so this time, just most of what John just asked and covered.
Yeah, I know you've probably been out there to see, but do you see a problem with the power, with the line that we got electricity going out to the location?
The amount of power that an LED sign takes is minimal. Standard 20-amp circuit would cover that. That is probably a 30 or 40-amp circuit, given the distance it ran. If we need to upgrade the breaker, we can upgrade the breaker. But impact, or any LED sign typically is very low voltage, and when it's running in low amps. Impact LEDs are some of they use the least amount of electricity compared to their competitors. They're kind of the industry leader in that.
Any idea what it would cost to add the 4 protective poles around the sign?
Oh, probably not much more than $1,000. It's just more drilling that, because if you look at the existing sign on there, it's probably doesn't have a base that's very deep, and it's kind of tilted. So we'd have to go down probably 4 or 5 feet, so it's just the drilling in the concrete, that's all. And we could probably do those at the same time that we're drilling the main pole sign and reduce that cost. Because we'd be pouring concrete all at one time, we'd be drilling all at once.
Good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
One last thing. I have one more for you, Brandon. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That was a nice one. That looks like a credit card.
Yeah. Does it work?
Does it have any money on it?
4 employees with 5 licensed electronic message centers repair service techs. So it's not so much what Budget Signs brings to the table before the sale, it's what we're there for you guys after the sale. Okay, with the electronic message centers, you've probably seen them all around the country, you've driven around in society. Some of them work very well, some of them you see don't work as well, or you'll notice over time, well, this section of it doesn't work right, or nothing's more frustrating as you're driving by trying to read a message, and there's several big squares and so forth and that out of the sign. One thing that Budget Signs does is, we're not gonna sell you an inferior product. There's 15 or 20 different electronic message center units that are available in this market arena, if you will, for the same type of price range. What we have offered is the Daktronics unit. Daktronics is the pioneer company in the electronic display. The county and the school districts probably own 30 of them, you don't even know it. They are the 95% of all scoreboards in the country or Daktronics scoreboards. So they've been in your society for years, you're in the gymnasiums and football fields and so forth. The reason why Daktronics, to us, we sell them is because of the reliability. There's an enormous amount of products that come over from China and from different Eastern Asian countries. They just will not handle the intense humidity and the heat of South Texas. They'll work fine for you for a year or so, but it's year 3, 5, 8, 10 where Daktronics gives you the best ability to relay the message to the county as what you were trying to do. Daktronics units comes with full 5-year warranty, no questions asked, bumper to bumper, if you will. Any component on that sign is covered unconditionally for the first 5 years of its existence. Budget signs will
Labor
have.
also?
I'm sorry?
Labor also?
No, labor is not. Labor is not. Labor is an extra charge, but what Budget Signs will do for you, and I don't know if Brian knew to write this into the contract, but for the first 2 years, if you end up going with Budget Signs, for the first 2 years, we will do labor at no cost for you. It's a line item we throw in for people. When the new units are, these are all, the Daktronic units, basically, there's no fiber optics run to it, there's no data lines need to run to it, they all come with a lifetime cellular service for them. So 95% of all diagnostics can be done over the phone, okay? And so there's no need now to have, we can't communicate with the sign, we have a fiber optic breaker, we got a DAC breaker, that, all of that has been eliminated. So for the life of the sign, for as long as you own it, Daktronics pays for the cellular service. So they're able to modem in, tell us what's wrong with the sign, we can then have our tech bring the part out to the site, fix the sign, they take that part back, we FedEx it to Daktronics, Daktronics turns around, FedExes that part back to the user, so she has that on site, or they have that on site for the next time we come, if that part needs to be replaced again. So it's, the key, I think, with Budget Signs is we're not subbing out anything. We bring our own licensed electricians, we have a master electrician on staff, 2 journeyman electricians, and 5 sign techs on staff. We have 2 bucket trucks and 3 crane trucks, so there'll be, I think the sign is 25 feet overall height. So we have 5 trucks that'll easily be able to reach that unit without having to rent any type of, or wait on any type of product.
So just for clarification, during the warranty period, there's no insurance, we wouldn't have to file with the county's insurance for a deductible, and we would not have to deal with Daktronics, we would deal directly with you?
That's correct.
Okay.
And when the sign is sold, let's assume that you decide to go with Budget Signs. So the sign will be assigned to Wilson County as the final user, as the end user. Budget Signs as the service agreement. And basically, so, but you want your users to do this. If the user will call us and say, we can't communicate with the sign, what we will ask them to do is, can you call Daktronics service tech? It's an 800 number, you call in, they've got 35 different service techs, on site. They're basically assign us a case number, okay? 9 times out of 10, it's a simple user error. They need to, click this, they can't, then what they will do is they will notify us, this is the case number, Wilson County, then Debbie Stroud, our service lady, she will call, okay, this is the issue, here's what Daktronics has asked us to do, they think it's a radio. We have one on, if we have one on, excuse me, if we have one in the house, we bring it over, we take the old one back, put it back to Daktronics, and they replace it for us, so we have none. Okay. So yes, there's no insurance needed. I've been with Budget Signs since 1995. I've only ever sold an extended service agreement one time. So after that 5 years, a lot of people say, well, do we need an extended service agreement? We look at the life of that sign, 9 times out of 10, or even more than that, really, you don't need a service agreement for that. You don't need to buy an extended warranty. We'll know within the first 2 or 3 years. It's kind of, you know, when you buy a car, some cars you have to hear at the dealership more than you are others. The only time that I've sold one is at the Ancera dealership in San Antonio. They are right across, that's back when they had radio connections in before the cell. And they are right across the street from one of the Secret Services offices. And they have these really intense radios. So those radios are, so we had board issues with that. So they chose to buy an extended warranty. All right. So really, once you purchase this sign, there's really no out-of-pocket money that needs to come with it, with an occasional, after the first 2 years, there may be some occasional labor that needs to, if we need to come check out stuff. But that has been lessening and lessening as the years go by because of the ability for them to diagnose the sign inside up in South Dakota. You know, because they can tell us what's wrong. 9 times out of 10, it's a user issue. Okay, we can tell them, can you go out to the sign, turn the power off, recycle the sign. It's basically they're telling you to reboot your computer. And so you reboot your computer, it connects back together, and off you go. So it's they made them very easy to do. I just would say, whether you go with Budget Signs or you go with Eagle 4, please be aware of the type of unit you're buying. Make sure you're buying a unit that has a proven 20-year test in this environment. Because there's a lot of the different EMC units out there that come and go. The economy gets good as it was the past 5 or 6 years. New people come into the business, and there's an enormous amount of out in the larger municipalities that don't work well. We can't get parts for them. We can't get software because people end up going out of business. Daktronics has been around 75 years. They've got a 1 million square foot manufacturing facility in South Dakota. Everything's made in the United States. And they've got a 5-people office in San Antonio. Another reason why I like to sell Daktronics over some of the other ones. The Watchfire units, their closest tech is in Houston. There's 5 or 10 other type of units that, not to down talk competition, it's just another unit. I'm able to sell them. They just don't have the support that Daktronics has. And so what Budget Signs does is we sell probably anywhere from 15 to 25 of these type of units a year. So we are experienced in what needs to be done to make sure that they're done properly. Because nothing's more frustrating than you spend the money you spent and we can't get these messages to run. Another thing we offer is to Travis Steele. She happens to be my assistant. She's a designer. If the county will allow, or the user will allow, they allow her to get onto the sign, she can diagnose and then upload slides if anyone's having trouble. That's a Travis thing that they take along to do. It's basically like writing a PowerPoint presentation. You're basically building slides and you're sending it, instead of sending it to it's basically another screen is all it is. And so if you have any type of issues with that, Jennifer's more than happy. You can call Jennifer. Jennifer, I cannot get this slide, so that can I log on to the sign? She'll log on to the sign, and she's able to do that, take care of those type of issues as well. Usually really a matter of minutes. And then if you're having some type of issue with your computer, and you know how it is when you're building presentations, it's always that end of the line of having troubles. We're happy to help. Call up Jennifer. Jennifer, can you build me these 5 slides so I can get this to the sign? Those are type of things Budget Signs has the staff to offer to help you with that. And we sell a lot of signs to shopping centers 10 years, they will make every part needed for that unit that you buy. So if you buy a sign in May of 2021, you know, for the next 10 years, they'll make sure they have every part that is needed for that sign. They won't call you, you won't call them up in 8 years, oh, we discontinued that sign 8 years ago. You know, that they guarantee it for the next 10 years. Most of these units have a life of about 12 to 15 years. It's not so much that the sign goes out, it's that the people want to upgrade and buy new technology. And I believe the size that y'all had asked for was the 25-foot overall height. We're offering a 19.5 millimeter sign. So at the rate of speed, where the sign's being located, the height of the speed, you'll be able to display beautiful photographs, you know, and, you know, text and graphics, of course, on both sides. The photographic quality, I think would be impressive. Are there any questions that I can answer for you all?
Yeah, I do. So it looks like you need a dedicated 120-volt circuit and a 240-volt circuit. Can you explain?
It'll run on either one.
Okay, that's what I was, because you get,
Yeah, it'll run on either one. Whatever's easiest to get out to the sign, if it's 270, it just won't run on 480, 440. Anything 277, 240, 120, 110 will be fine.
Have you installed any signs here within Wilson County?
Oh, yeah, we do most of all. In fact, when we leave here, we're going to Common Memorial to handle the Common Memorial stuff. So we're adding a bunch of new signs for them. We just put, do the pole sign. There's probably 10 or 15 different retailers around in Noorsville that we've probably done over the years as well.
Okay,
well, I was going to go cycle back the same thing. Does Mr. Holcomb have any questions, and does Ms. Moots have any questions?
Okay, I have not personally reviewed any of the proposals, but it looks like most of the questions were answered, like connectivity. It connects back through a cellular connection. And you asked the question about electricity and, you know, user accounts and so forth for the sign. And what about like licensing fees for the software that manages, like if we want to have more than one user have control of the sign, is there additional cost associated with that, or is it basically as many users that need access?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, basically, it's web-based software, okay? So your license, as far as upgrades or anything of that, that goes free. Anytime you upgrade the software, they basically will send it to whoever the main user is, they'll be sent that link for you to upgrade the software. You basically then you're able to assign how many users you want to be able to have access to the sign, so you can do that. So you don't have to purchase another license agreement or anything for that, okay?
Are there recurring costs associated with the lifetime sailor service?
Not at all, no. It's a lifetime. I don't know if Brian put that in there. Yeah, that's a lifetime. For the life of that Catatonic sign, they buy huge blocks of data time from Verizon, Sprint, whatever gets the best coverage in your area. Right here in this area, typically it's Verizon, I believe, so it'll come with Verizon. There are some areas in the past where we've had to use Sprint or AT&T, but they typically buy more from Verizon.
Okay, what's the lifetime of the sign?
Well, they're gonna guarantee for 2 years. You typically start changing
Where is
these
that
signs
one?
out.
This one is an additional $1,000.
15. It's not so much that it's the life of the signs, you're gonna upgrade technology. They do still have some signs out. I wanna say one of the oldest units that I know of right now that is probably 17 years old. We do have to make some trips for it. It's very hard to get parts, but it's typically just power supplies and things of that nature that we replace on it, and they're
17 years old.
Okay, the lifetime sailor service, is that the lifetime of like up until end of life?
As long as you own the sign, as long as you need connectivity to that sign, Daktronics will cover that.
Okay,
That's correct.
I think that's really the only questions I have.
Thank you, Colin.
okay.
Christina, did you have any
The
questions?
resilience, the clarity, whatever 19.8 millimeter RGB, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, is there could we upgrade on that? How much, if we could, what would that price be?
Well, if you can get the 19.8 millimeter basically is the resolution of the sign you're looking at. Okay, the next one is a 15.8, and then the next one from that is a 10 millimeter, okay? Once you order the sign, that's the type of resolution you're gonna get. If you want to upgrade and get a 15 millimeter sign on a project like this, you're probably looking at about another $3,000 on the exact same size. If you want to do a 15.8 millimeter.
Okay.
The 10 millimeters that you're seeing a lot of now, in my opinion, are, and we have several in San Antonio that we've sold, they're, for the viewing audience, you're driving down the road at 35 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, whatever, and you're looking at a sign that's 25 to 50 feet tall, your mind's eye is not gonna be able to tell the difference between a 15 millimeter and a 19 millimeter, okay? If you're gonna be reading a 10 millimeter from 75 yards, you'll notice that a 10 millimeter is twice as good. These units are not made, they're made to be viewed for about typically it's an 8 seconds you have to visualize your screen from that distance. Most of these, you're gonna be viewing this sign from 300 yards away and start approaching it. But yes, to answer your question, we can upgrade and give you higher resolution, there is more of a cost for it. I don't think that it's necessary at this particular site. You will not be disappointed in a 19 millimeter sign for the type of use that you're gonna have for it. You know, the Porsche dealerships, they use a 10 millimeter, okay? You know, the Chevrolet dealerships and Sierra dealerships that show beautiful trucks and this and that on theirs, they're using 19 millimeters. The billboards, the large billboards that you see all around the highways, most of those are Daktronic units, and those are 19 millimeter units. So, it's.
You mean we're not, Wilson County is not the Cadillac of counties?
That they are. We would love to sell you 10 millimeter, okay? I just think that you probably can utilize some of that money, on other things probably, you know, that, I don't think you need it. We try to sell things or propose things that are, put ourselves in the shoes of the end user. What is the best thing for the city user, okay? If you were, you know, in the Galleria in Houston, Texas, and you're approaching that and you're selling, you know, super high-end jewelry, then yes, we're probably gonna tell you that you need a 15 millimeter. If you're gonna be walking up to it, you need a 10 millimeter. But for driving in a car at 35 miles an hour, it's 25 feet in the air, you probably are not gonna have good enough pictures taken to make the difference. When you really see these high-end commercial units being done, they're using professional photography. And you give me a professional photo and let me show it on a 19 millimeter and put it on a 15 millimeter, most of us won't even be able to tell the difference from the distance you'll be viewing it from.
Now, I do have a few questions as far as electricity. Are we running underground? Will it be overhead?
We had,
cable?
there is a
There's already,
line out there in conduit. We don't know
that's what I asked.
how big
They said it
conduit
is.
is, how big the wire is, whatever. If we would be able to use the same conduit to pull new wire,
What we would
Whatever.
want to do is, it's got a static sign on the top of it, right, that says Wilson County Expo. So we'd like one circuit to be ran to utilize that, so that circuit can be turned off at dawn and dusk. Then we'd like another dedicated circuit, another circuit to run the message center, because you want the message center to run 24/7. Utilize that to run 24/7. They come with dimming units, so it's gonna be dimmed automatically at dusk and dawn, so that it doesn't overpower you at night.
And as far as when you said the slides are only, based, what you said, word, can you do that from anywhere? Do you have to have a certain type of software, an app on your phone?
No, it's basically it's web-based. So
Okay.
anywhere you have the ability to get on the internet, you can access to that.
Anywhere, okay.
I mean, you'll download your icons that you put onto. and
Yeah.
then once you got it.
So what is the brightness of this sign?
Oh, gosh, well, it's probably what, 12,000 lumens? You're only gonna additional 25% of that. So I don't know the exact lumens. The reason why is when using RGB technology is you're utilizing just fractions of each pixel depending upon what graphic is on there. You know, so if you've got a darker photograph, you're not utilizing the lumens you are if you're putting a white text on there. So I apologize. I don't know.
And then, can you describe or talk about the box that contains all of this? Is it
Yes.
bird-proof, windproof, sealed, not sealed?
Yes, sir, yes, it's architecture, it's basically extruded architectural aluminum, solid, stable, architectural aluminum cabinet. Daktronics actually has a sign in their, manufacturing facility that is submerged underwater, and it runs continuously. So it's front vented, but every module is basically a 1 foot by 1 foot, 12 inch by 14 foot, 14 inch module that the signs are composed of. Those are all totally sealed watertight units. Okay, so you basically can submerge this under the water and it'll run for ages. It does have front ventilation. It also has a Vandal louvers that are on it. People always want to talk about vandalism signs. It's really a non-issue. We don't see that much of it. Typically, you'll see issues if there's a white sign somewhere, the kids will get to it and put it. We rarely have very much problem with electronic message centers. They do have this louver system where if you look on the side view of it, it's got a little awning looking thing that extends just 3/16 of an inch. And that's not so much there. It's there, it does protect the sign, but it's really there to deflect the light. If it didn't have that, that needs to shade that light. If it didn't have that on there, it would be too bright for your eyes to see. So, there's just really not a whole lot that can go wrong with these things. The cabinet that would be put on top of that, that will be an aluminum cabinet, no rust, painted like you paint a car. Basically, it's painted in a spray booth, just like with automotive grade paint. So we try to build as much as we can out of aluminum so that there's no rust. And then, of course, the pole will be a steel pole that will be fine.
So would Daktronics assemble the whole thing, or are they just assembling the bottom portion and y'all are making the top portions?
Yes, Daktronics will make the actual sign itself. It'll come as a full unit. And then that sign will be made for the other side separate.
That's all included in the proposal, that's all included.
Yes, all I need you to do is give me 2 circuits to the bottom of the sign, and then we'll take it from there.
So if you have 220-volt circuits, then you're good to go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Depending upon, what I try to tell people, if you come to it, we'll allow it, and then it's not, if you run your 3rd circuit, not so much that the sign needs it, but a lot of times, it's nice to have a junction box at the bottom with an outlet on it. People sometimes like to put stuff out for Christmas, especially in a municipal area. They might want to put a manger scene in, they want to put different things down, they want some lighting. So if you're pulling wire and your conduit will allow it, pull an extra circuit, we'll put a nice little outlet box there for you. 4 years from now, you're going to be going, gosh, I wish I had an outlet out there, we could plug something in. It has nothing to do with the sign, but you're already running wire, so at that point, wire's cheap. Makes it fun for people utilizing the sign.
Any other questions?
Is the sign, the actual width and height, is it the actual, or do you have like a trim goes around it on the end,
Yes, you have the Daktronic units has because it's encased in a extruded architectural cabinet, and the modules are, it's basically 2 inches around, that is a aluminum cabinet. Some of the units out there do have the LEDs that go all the way to the edge. It's just a matter of preference. It's if you like that border or not. I mean, visually, when you're driving down the road, you're seeing the image. I don't think that framework does much work. I prefer the protection of it rather than having just that border on the structural integrity of that unit 10 years from now, okay? What's happened is in the market is that there's a lot of people that know how to make the modules. So they'll make these modules and they'll say, oh, they're 1 foot by 1 foot modules, you can build your sign as big as you want, you can daisy chain, it gives you all this flexibility. That's great, there's no structural integrity to it. It's got this little bitty framework that each one of those attached to it, yes, it works great for a couple of years. But, down the road, if we get these ice storms, carry on a lot of weight, massive 100-mile-an-hour winds, and that's where you start seeing the electronics and you watch fires in the world. They're all over the world.
It won't be long.
24 out of 28 NFL stadiums.
Let's see what it says.
Oh, yeah, I
You're
think
buying the product that
it doesn't matter as long as it's done before September 30th.
72 years.
Did you say the border around the sign is a 1/4 inch or 2 inches? 2 inches.
Okay, would there be a place for a bird to build a nest up there or
Yes, sir.
anything? Okay,
Yes, sir. It's totally enclosed.
okay.
Gonna have to find another place for your bird, Judge.
Unless you want access for it, sir, you pay for that access.
Little cage door in the front.
Yeah. Make him pay 25 cents to build a
Yeah,
nest. up there.
exactly.
If you notice, I mean, a lot of people, you're doing all of other things, you're not buying signs, or unless you have one, you're not doing. If you drive around and pay attention, there is a lot of people out, especially in the little modular units, they build in modular, they're cheaper to build. They'll have 2 single-face signs. Yes, this comes as 2 different units. Basically, one's primary, one's a secondary. So the primary runs the secondary. We're gonna enclose that in, with flatting, so that birds don't get up in there.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. We appreciate it.
Do you step out or do you
Sir?
step out?
Yes, if you would. Anybody have any comments, questions?
Well, I have an observation, I don't know if it's a question or a comment. There's a fairly significant difference in the cost on the 2 of these, is what I'm seeing. I would think that maybe we ought to consider having John evaluate the 2 proposals. When it comes to understanding the ins and outs of that sort of thing, I don't really have the knowledge. And so, based on what I saw here, we're looking at an almost an $8,800 difference between the two proposals. And so I would like someone who is more knowledgeable than myself to tell me if, it may be that the $47,000, almost $48,000 proposal is the better proposal of the 2. So from my standpoint, I'd like an evaluation from someone who has, within our organization, who has some knowledge of this, to take a look at it and maybe at the next court, come back and just say, based on what I see, this is the better unit of the 2, or there's not that much difference for the price that we're looking at.
Well, I also think we need to find out exactly what electricity we have out there and whether or not it is still serviceable, because they're both basically starting at a breaker. But if everything else behind that isn't acceptable or usable, then we've got additional costs there to consider also.
There's going to be additional cost to run the line. Hopefully the conduit's big enough and we can,
Well, that's what we need to figure out, I think, before we tell them to go ahead, because it is, the wire's the most expensive part of it, but if the conduit's not big enough, then we got to trench across the parking lot and repair the parking lot and everything else to install a new line. It's just a piece of the puzzle. It doesn't affect the proposals. But I think we need to do that. And then I think, I guess, based on the recommendation, we put some bollards. I think, I'm not going to speak for anybody, but I think we would all agree that we probably should put some bollards around there to protect that. I think we should get them to do it, because they're right. They'll have a drill truck out there. They can drill the holes to put bollards around it, and probably need to get or get them to give us a price to do that. I will give you a standard for the bollard so that there's no question of one's doing more or less than the other.
I think that makes sense, whichever sign company we go with.
Okay, you wanna bring them back in and tell them that we're gonna.
What's a permit? There's no permit that we require.
I'm sorry?
It says permit application will be submitted. Is there one by the state or
I don't think so. I mean,
it's on our property, so it's not on state right
No
away?
permits.
That would be a question for you to ask them. I don't know.
Probably a standard thing they put on.
I would assume that
Probably
you
have to
need
have
a building
in
permit,
certain
you're right,
areas.
any type
Sure,
of
there was a
construction
city,
permit.
because there's some cities that have sign orders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's what he's saying, that upon completion.
From my standpoint, I personally would like a review and a recommendation, so to speak.
One other, to add to Commissioner Martin's statement, I think they should look at the line and see what's feasible, what's not. I mean, we don't know what they need for their sign, as far as the power line, the wire.
yeah, we do. Yep, so it's a 20 amp circuit, so
You know,
that tells
I
you
don't-
what size
I
wire it is.
couldn't tell you if that wire's,
Well, they want two 20-amp circuits other than the last one I heard.
I know, and the other one didn't.
But he wanted 220, so, I mean, if the wires
There's no 220 there, I can just say that.
okay,
I mean, I can say that right now. It's a 110. It's just a plug out there. And I think it ought to be up to the sign company to see,
well, no, that's
We
ours.
did put that as part of the
Absolutely.
proposal.
Yeah.
Running the electricity.
no, to find out what's there. I don't know what,
Okay.
no, we're gonna have to hire an electrician to go out
Yes,
there.
I took it for granted that we were gonna have to hire an electrician, and that's the reason.
If you want them to do all that.
Exactly.
You should, that should have been.
They're just gonna work with what I'm understanding, not reading the proposal, they're gonna work with the existing electricity.
Exactly.
line there. They're
And that's what I asked the first one, if he's checked, and he said, yes, you got enough power there. And that's what he said.
But that's not part of their work. It's
No,
our,
no,
it's our
they're-
responsibility to get what they need. Once we
Right.
decide which sign, we need to get what we need there.
But that's why I asked him if he'd gone out there to check to see if the power there was adequate enough.
I think what you're saying is it's not their responsibility to go check. They're telling us what type of power we need. It's up to the county to ensure that we have that sufficient power.
Right. Because I do like his suggestion of having an outlet at the bottom, because I can see you going out there
It's
and
possible to run 3 circuits.
To have
decorating.
that, yeah.
Wilford's given us a lot of quality.
Okay,
You would see.
I'm gonna,
See,
I can tell you now, that conduit ain't like this.
They're coming, they're
It ain't
coming.
gonna be-
they're coming.
It ain't gonna be big enough. If that's, that's all it is.
Okay, we're going to not take any action this week, this Commissioners Court. We're going to evaluate it, evaluate the 2 proposals and what we're getting for the 2 proposals, and we will have something on the next agenda for this.
Can I
Yep.
ask one question? For that next agenda, will we be able to bring our demo unit? We can actually, we have a physical unit we can bring out on a trailer and a truck and we can watch it.
I don't,
If one brings the other one, ought to be able to bring it too.
Yeah, we could, I mean, I'm just saying if you want to, I mean, you can get up, watch, walk, touch it, look at it, see it, basically answer all the questions.
does anybody need to look at the unit or want to look at the unit?
I mean, I guess we could let Mr. Holcomb
Yeah,
look
we
at
can
the
get back with him
electronic
and let
side
him
and
know.
then let them know in advance of the meeting if they want to bring it, if we want to look at
A
it.
couple days' notice, electronics, rep will bring it on the trailer and you set it out there and you look out the window at it and you go touch it if you want to feel it, see the mechanical.
Okay,
So one question for both companies, the clarification. The electricity that's needed at that point, what do y'all need?
120, I need 2 circuits. Either 110, 220, whatever you can get out there, most cost effectively. Make it easy on yourself. It'll work either 277, 120, 240, 120 circuit that exists there is active. Yeah.
just one circuit?
So that, we don't need to go into any of that other.
Well, if you only have 1 circuit, then I can put a photocell in between the 2 units. I mean, that's enough electricity electricity to run it. If you're pulling wire for your easy, run a second circuit so that the top sign can stay static the whole time. But if you only have one circuit, it's fine, it'll make it work.
Okay. And you can make it,
The existing
Just one-
circuit is a single circuit. and
Yes.
it'll work.
okay. Okay. Okay, we thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Okay, moving to agenda item number 11, Richard L. Jackson County Judge. Discuss and take action on approving an employee discount policy for the Wilson County Expo and Community Center. I passed it out to y'all. This is something that we had talked about. And Catherine put this together and put it to be inserted into our policy manual, personnel policy manual.
I got it somewhere, I just,
It's on there somewhere.
you got an extra one? Thank you. I think I see.
Is it the price?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify.
No, that's a discount.
I wanted to clarify that is the discounted price off of the original price, not a discounted price up.
So it's a $100 discount.
Yes.
Correct.
For
For
weekdays and
weekdays.
a $500 discount for weekends.
Mr.
And what's the
Chapman?
tip, and what is the normal price?
So it would be $750, I think, correct, Ms. Chapman?
It's, $12.50 for a weekend.
Okay,
And what's during the week?
Thousand.
But what about, just nights?
No, you said 200.
Well, yeah, for the whole day, if you're gonna break it down for those meetings that we do roughly about 2 hours, 2.5 hours that they're in there, it's $250, yes.
Okay.
Can it just say a $100 off regular price, or $100 off price for the public?
Well, would you wanna do $100 off if it was just that evening meeting, because they don't get it the whole day, they come and get the key probably roughly around 4, so they're only in there, we're talking
So there's
max.
3 price levels. It's daytime use, full day use, and weekend use.
Yes.
So we only put.
Okay, so we can add one to it, leave the discounted price for the weekday for nights, or just a, meeting, and then have a discount for, and what do you want to make it? If it's $1,000, make it 400 or 350 or?
Well, cut in half, yeah. Well, so the regular price is $12.50 right now for public.
We could,
For Saturdays and Sundays.
12 or 13?
Is that per day?
That's on Saturday and
Wait,
Sunday.
is that in price?
So
is that
that's,
combined, or is that,
That's public, well, as of right now, it's across the board until.
Okay.
so that's for both days, Saturday and Sunday?
Just one day. If they rent it for a Saturday function, you will get the key that Friday afternoon to get in there and decorate, but it's $12.50 for the whole Saturday. Same rules apply. If you were renting it Sunday, it would be $12.50, you would get that key Saturday evening to.
What, I mean, for example, if they rented it Saturday and Sunday for the entire weekend, then that would be
It's the same price.
$12.50 per day?
No, it's $12.50 for the weekend.
Well, we've actually, I'll be honest with you, we've never actually had somebody rent it for both days, but if they were to do that, it would be $12.50 and $12.50.
If they were gonna
Times
use it
2.
all day, but if they
Yes.
come in and get it for Saturday and they're out by Sunday, that's not considered an
Have a big
additional
Right.
day.
we've allowed them, like, to come in Friday, get the key, and they can decorate
Correct.
Friday,
Yeah, and they're
allow
real-
decorations Friday night if it's not going to be used.
Yeah, and they're real good, they get everything out Saturday, if for some odd reason they need to get it Sunday, they notify me, but our vendors have been real good, where they're out Sunday, and I get the key
So
Monday.
it should be
So nobody's ever in.
100 for daytime and.
So should it say discounted price for weekday evening
500.
reservation?
2 hours.
$100?
500 daytime and 750.
so,
I can't hear what y'all are saying, so
That's what
That's
it
what
would
I'm
be.
saying, you could let it go like a short term, or if we had different levels, where it'd be I don't know if you wanna say meeting, because it would classify for anything.
It's just the 2
Or
hour.
short.
Right.
Okay,
so if you're gonna rent it,
Yeah.
You do,
I'll
yeah.
go the whole time. We actually, this week or next week, Farm Bureau will be in there with their meeting, or with
Yeah, I can't imagine employees doing it as often as public, but just for record purposes. So what I did is I showed here Commissioner Martin, in terms of actual cost for the 2-hour short-term rental, what you're recommending is $100 for that period. For daytime use during the week, it would be $500 for the full day, and then weekend use would be $750 per rental for the employees.
That would be the rate that they're paying.
Correct.
Not the discount.
Not the discount, be the rate they're paying.
But
Yeah, I like that.
I think the policy should indicate what the discount is, because what if in 2
No.
years we go up $100?
No,
I don't
you're-
want to have to go back and
No,
revise
you're
this.
absolutely right. It's written as here. I'm just giving you what the
Right.
actual cost would
Right.
be so that you have an idea.
It
Right.
could, you know, it certainly could say, discount pricing is available for, employees from that
Just do the
office.
percentage
You
then,
could put
right?
that in that self-explanatory, and then if we do
So
change the
it's a
rate, that
50?
will be just set in stone in our book.
That's
But we
50%.
could word it that way, they could contact us and see what the
1,000,
rate would be.
that's
That's
another
50%.
What they're gonna
50%.
rent it for, whether it was gonna be that
Yeah.
evening, a half a day, a full day.
All right, so
Makes y'all's lives
since I'm from the east side of the county, it takes me a while to get all of this. So if it's a weekday
You're losing
Yeah.
$500.
and an employee wants to rent it, what's the cost after the discount?
$750.
Well, he said weekday.
Oh,
Weekday.
Day,
500, are you?
500,
For the
yeah.
whole entire day. For them getting the whole.
It'd be- Yeah, for the whole day would be $500. And for an evening,
For an evening, then you're looking at.
weekend or,
No,
well, weekday first, I guess.
that's all inclusive. Your weekday pricing includes that entire day.
no,
I think he was asking, because we were just referring to about the short-term meetings,
Oh.
if we were to have an employee do that.
Got it.
Then that was what my understanding is they were gonna be paying $100 for that.
Just $100 for if you're having like a meeting. You're not serving, it's just you're having a,
We're talking maybe 2.5 hours you're in there. Yeah. Mine had not included.
so that would be $100 for a meeting, a weekday meeting? Okay,
If you're an employee.
right.
Okay, let's clarify this. What we're gonna put in the policy manual, are we gonna put the discount in the policy manual, or are we gonna put the price?
The
The
discount.
discount.
And I think discount
Okay,
based
so we
on
need to
percent-
establish the prices, because I don't think we've got a daily price established.
Give me a piece of paper and tell me what it's gonna cost.
There is, but the easiest thing to do would be for policy purposes is to put the percentages. So if you back the percentages into what Catherine has, then it stays forever and it doesn't have to change. So you're looking at 50%, 50%, and 40%. Short-term, daytime, weekend. It keeps it really simple and clear. So that way, if the prices increase, then we don't have to change the personnel, the policy in order to change it.
Still getting the same discounts.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you do 50%, it'll be $100 for an evening meeting, $600 for an all-day? Did you say 40%?
500.
What's that?
5.
How
It's only
many-
You
$1,000.
said percentages a while ago, you
Right.
said 50, 40, 50?
No, 50, 50, 40.
50, 50, 40.
And 40, okay,
The
40 is the
weekend is
weekend.
12.50 and 40%
okay,
off
50,
that.
50, and 40.
Yes.
I got those two switched. So it'd be 100, 500, and what's 40% of
750,
12.50.
12.50, 40% would be 750.
Yes.
Okay,
That's too easy.
Just keep it simple.
Is everybody thoroughly confused
Yeah,
yet?
will you change it, Brenda?
Just to add the percentages? Yes. Okay.
Because I've already gotten confused on how many categories you have.
Well, and I think to Ms. Moore's point, it should be off the current published rate.
Right. It's,
Yes, but I mean whether it's weekday, daytime,
Yes.
Right.
weekday, nighttime,
yes.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
I'll make a motion to table this till the next meeting for the revisions that were discussed during court.
Well, can we,
We can go ahead and get it. If we're gonna do the percentages,
right, that's what I was gonna say.
Why
We can
why
go
don't we
ahead and
just
take
make
the
it
action.
50% across the board for the employees and it eliminates a lot of confusion?
Have we gone into what it costs us to run it for these times, for the employees and all that, so that we're gonna actually make a profit if we do that?
We won't be making,
Yeah, it's not a matter of making the profit, it's just,
you may make a profit on the weekend or the weekday, but $100 for a couple hours, you won't make.
Wanted to bring it up before.
Yeah, for 2 hours,
I'll
probably.
just make it a 50% straight across the board.
that's your call.
Be like-
You're looking at just
It would be-
$125 difference if you did it, so.
Okay,
Well,
what we need to do is to settle on, that we're gonna do the 50% and then come back next Commissioners Court meeting, and this is the process that, and, get those on the record.
well, I'm not for, per se, giving quite as much of a discount on the weekend, because that's probably one of our, is that one of our,
You do run it, of course, on the weekend more than you do.
Well, hopefully,
Well, based on
Yeah.
employee. An employee's gonna run it on the weekend, of course, so, a day.
Right.
Of course, so, yeah.
but I guess, and I hate to beat this horse to death, but, I mean, should it be, well, obviously, they're gonna have to find a day that it's not booked, but let's say that somebody wants to come in and pay a full price. I mean, do they get priority too with that,
It would
or?
change, I think,
Once it's booked, it's booked.
once it's, yes.
It's booked no matter who it is.
Yeah.
No, he's saying in reverse. He's saying if an employee has it booked and then you have somebody else that comes and wants that same day, no, you wouldn't, you
No,
wouldn't
it's
be
booked.
able to change it, because the contract remains the same.
We're not gonna bump somebody, you know, because that could,
No.
It's
Have
just,
we had employees ask if they get a
Yes, we have.
discount?
We have, and we have, one, we had one on the books, but something came up, and of course, with COVID, it was gonna be rescheduled, but no, we haven't, we've had plenty of them inquire about it.
How often do we have employees that want to book it? Just roughly.
Roughly, we do have one now, but not very often. I think we had two, and with COVID, but we do have a contract on.
Not very often.
And what's immediate family, what we're looking at? When we say immediate family,
I would think like my son getting married,
right.
and he lives in my household, only one child, I would think that you would give a discount to that person.
I think
That's
that
it.
needs to be something that needs to be clarified
Yeah.
also.
Absolutely, not cousins and uncles and
Right.
aunts
Yeah,
and
you got primos and everything else, and
the employee.
what are you gonna
you
allow?
have to
What
live
are
in
we
the
gonna allow?
household with the,
Employee and immediate
Employee.
family.
And then how are you
And it's
gonna
not-
prove that? That's-
okay, are we gonna include,
y'all are
okay?
making-
I'd say we'd have to live in the household with the employee, because, okay, say we've got an employee that's got children and grandchildren. You know, are they gonna be available? None of them are living at home.
Yeah, but that, yeah,
That kind of defeats the purpose. They
Right.
may have an adult all getting married and they want to have the reception there.
I would say if the employee rents it and pays for it,
Employee and immediate family, that immediate family can be, we're not talking Uncle Joe or
right.
Cousin Benny, we're talking, you know, if mom and dad are having a anniversary,
Right.
if
How
you
about
got
just
a
employee?
grandkid getting married,
Just employee, not,
If the
don't
employee
put
rents
family
it,
in
if the
there.
employee rents it and she wants it for her mother's 50th wedding anniversary, the employee is still renting it. The
Right.
purpose of it wouldn't matter.
right, I agree.
No. Just put employee.
Right.
get caught up in all that stuff.
Okay.
Don't make it more difficult.
How did we decide we're gonna do this?
Well, I have a motion to table it with the instructions given, but what, be happy to withdraw that if there's, if you have a different preference. I think I'd really like to see the final version since we've had so much discussion and,
Did we end up saying 50% across the board or not? That's going to be the easiest.
I don't think so, because
The straightforward, easiest, that would be a good suggestion. Just employee base, 50%. And of course, then they come, whether, if the rentals do change,
then they can get with the office and see if it's a daytime rental, a week rental, or a weekend, but it's still 50%, you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, since this is a policy change, I would like to see the actual written policy
Or go.
to approve. So I'll reaffirm my motion
Oh, what's that?
to table this
Okay.
till the next meeting, till
Have
the
the written
revisions
policy,
have the
have it
written
completely written?
completed, yes.
And of course, this is the written policy, so
It'll be changed.
If I
It'll change to say 50% instead of the dollar amounts that are there.
And in that policy, I'd like to see what the amounts
And
of the
take
rental
immediate
actually
families.
are.
But
Just
that's
put
gonna.
current
the thing is,
employees.
Commissioner, if we put actual dollar amounts in there, every time we have an update, we would have to change the policy.
I just want to see it for myself, what the rental rates are.
Oh, I thought you meant put it in the
No,
policy.
not in the policy, just, I'd like to see what the
Got
rental
it,
rates
okay.
are.
Okay, so this will be changed, it'll, to take out immediate families and add the 50%.
50% of the
And then
current,
what-
whatever we.
50%, whatever, whether it be weekday nights, weekday, all day, or weekends.
Except the only ones for a year and all others.
Okay,
Current
motion by
employees will be
Commissioner
given a-
Martin to table this,
Second.
second by Commissioner Perdola. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's tabled until next meeting. Okay, moving right along. Agenda item 12, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, discuss and take action on proclaiming April 25th to May the 2nd, 2021 as Soil and Water Stewardship Week. Okay, we have a proclamation here, or, okay. Texas State Soil and Water Conservation Board, 2021 Soil and Water Stewardship Week proclamation. Whereas fertile soil and clean water provide us with our daily sustenance, and whereas effective conservation practices have helped provide us a rich standard of living, and whereas our security depends upon healthy soil and clean water, and whereas stewardship calls for each person to help conserve these precious resources. Thereby, I do proclaim April 25th to May the 2nd, 2021, Soil and Water Stewardship Week. This is from the Soil and Water Conservation District. We do this every year for them. And also, we have, it's budgeted, we usually donate $1,000 to the Wilson County Soil and Water Conservation Board.
I make a motion, we approve this, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Perdola. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We have this. Okay, agenda item 13, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, 13A, discuss and take possible action on results of for-year 2020 Carnes Wilson County Juvenile Probation Audit Operations. We have Tom Duknick, or once and used to be county auditor.
Those of you in court that don't know me, thank you, Judge, for having me here. I'm the county auditor of Karnes County. Karnes County and Wilson County have combined juvenile, two different departments that really make juvenile operations. Every year, we get about $660,000 in Texas juvenile justice system for grants that fund most of our positions in different programs. So we're required to have an audit every year that's presented to the juvenile board, made up of the two district judges and the two county judges on two counties. And they just finished our audit for the last fiscal year,
think so, yeah.
And Carnes counts, Carnes also funds, and we're gonna work on this year with our new chief that y'all soon meet to reduce that allocation. Y'all may not need to fund us that much, because I don't wanna take taxpayers' money that we don't need to pay for the operation. Y'all have any other questions?
All right. I have a question, and I know it's okay, the account that was overdrawn, or the accounts, have they all been,
Yes, sir, everything's been reconciled, I believe.
and
Michelle can attest.
have they been, okay, have they been eliminated and we don't have 5 different accounts?
We have one full cash account now for all the probation, juvenile probation operations. When it happened, that's what I was saying, Michelle can attest, these grants are reimbursable grants, so that money was never in that account before we can turn it to the state to get reimbursed. So ideally, we would have that money, you know, in the system before we can pay the expenses, but because we get reimbursed a month later, that's what caused a lot of the issues, Judge, with those accounts.
And those accounts have all been closed and we're operating under one account now?
Yes, sir, it's all one.
Okay.
We went to implementing full cash for our county about 3 months ago. That's really helped tremendously with juvenile has their own bank account, and county has their own bank account for full cash operation.
Good deal.
So I guess, do we need to accept this to,
Just probably for, that way for recording y'all's, file and people's file.
I make a motion that we accept the results of the fiscal year 20 Karnes and Wilson County Juvenile Probation Juvenile Probation Audit.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Wiley, that we accept the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Probation Audit for year 2020. Is there any more discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay, now we've got 13B, introduce Rick Rios as Chief Juvenile Probation Officer of Karnes-Wilson Juvenile Probation Office. Rick?
Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Rios. I'm the new chief JPO here in Karnes and Wilson County. Very excited to have the job. I appreciate the opportunity the board gave me to take over this position and hopefully get our youths making better decisions and moving in the right direction. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, welcome.
And their offices in Corinth?
Yes. Rick is doing what Neva Schmidt did for years. He's took her place. Okay, agenda item 14, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Jalen T. Botiford, Human Resource Specialist. It's got it right, okay. Discuss and take action on replacing and appointing new members to the Insurance Committee. Jalen.
So it's that time of year again to meet with TAC regarding our loss ratio on our medical insurance. And in order to do that, we have an insurance committee that the county put together before my time. With that being said, we do have a meeting tomorrow. But in order to do that, we have 2 members that are needing to be replaced. The representative from the sheriff's office is no longer employed by the county. I have spoken with Sheriff Stewart, and he made a recommendation that Michelle Key take over that position. And then with the treasurer retiring, June 1st, I have a recommendation to replace her with Christine Boots, so that we can go forward for the new fiscal year.
Who else sits on the committee, Jalen?
Yourself, myself, Commissioner File, Commissioner Wiley, Dawn, one from the treasurer's office and one from the sheriff's office.
You need a motion? I'll make a motion that we approve the new members to the insurance committee.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Fowle, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we approve Michelle Key and Christina Moots as the 2 new members on the Insurance Committee. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we've got 2 new members. Thank you.
Thank you.
11 o'clock tomorrow, right?
10.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
11.
Oh, it is 11? I thought it was 10.
Dawn's office.
11 at
Yeah.
Dawn's office.
Now we've got agenda item number 15, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Brenda L. Trevino, County Auditor, discuss and take possible action on FirstNet phones and SMARSH archiving for, I guess, SMARSH archiving for the Sheriff's Department.
SMARSH, yeah, SMARSH.
Do you know what that stands for?
SMARSH is the name of their company.
It's the name of the company?
Yes.
Okay, it's all capitalized. I figured it was an acronym.
No, it's capitalized because that's how they
Oh.
they do it. So several months ago, I think it was back in November, December, we had started down the path for switching, and it had been on court before about switching to county-issued cell phones and replacing the cell phone allowance that's given. That had been tabled. However, Sheriff Stewart is really wanting to start with his department, which I'm okay with. I had mentioned to him after I did the math and put it on paper to give us an idea of where we were, the differences. The first page that's in green, those are all of his employees. You'll see the first column says the annual stipend that they're getting now, which equates to the monthly. And then the last two columns are what FirstNet would equate to. On the back side of that page, it kind of gives you the breakout of the cost difference. So it is an $8,500, $8,507.60 savings, I'm sorry, a savings of about $9,000. But then when you add in SMARSH, so SMARSH archiving is to be compliant with the House bill that we all talked about archiving the data that's on the cell phones, which was the purpose of having to even consider FirstNet to begin with. So I worked with John Holcomb. We went through and got with SMARSH because FirstNet does not offer the archiving service directly. It would be something that we would have to pay separately. So while we will be saving money on converting to FirstNet, that savings then is rolled back into the expense of having to archive the data. It is archived immediately via all text messages, text, images, all photos, any type of graphics. So at the end of the day, you'll see the difference, including the SMARSH archiving. We would be saving the county about $2,000 overall in a one-year period. The difference would be that every year there is a reoccurring fee of the $6,400 to actually pay for the SMARSH service, which would be from year to year. I did forward the contract to our council for review. It is a one-year contract for SMARSH archiving. So I believe Sheriff Stewart is just seeking approval from the court to allow his employees as listed here to convert. We would issue the cell phones. We did have a meeting with, it was myself, Commissioner Martin, with Stephen Punt, who was the rep from FirstNet, where he answered quite a bit of the questions in terms of the equipment, contract, that sort of thing. But it's the SMARSH that I really wanted to get the pricing on because we were told, oh, it's only $4 or $5 per phone, and that's not really how it turned out to be, so I wanted to make the court aware of it.
I have two questions. Okay, I may know the answer to the first one. How come the sheriff's only getting $600?
I can't answer that, that's what's budgeted. That's what it was budgeted when I got here, so whoever made that
Okay,
decision, I
and
don't
then
know.
I suggest next year we make that the same as everybody else's.
He
But it
won't,
doesn't
he won't
matter
need
now.
one.
What's
It
that?
wouldn't matter now, because the
Okay, well, it
stipends
won't
would go
now, yeah,
away.
they'd be out, but I don't know why he wasn't getting it to begin with. You're only getting $50 a month for your phone?
I didn't even ask for it.
Well, that's what we're getting at. That's what everybody, usually the elected officials get 100. But, the next question, who has the rights to the archives besides us?
I'll turn that over to, now that's some discussion that John and I had. Now, when you say the rights, do you mean the accessing the data?
Yes.
That would be whoever the county assigns as administrators to the platform. So SMARSH has a platform that you actually log in and you can see all of the data that's uploaded there. So it would be, whoever we establish with the sheriff on who.
Okay.
I don't think that it needs to be accessible by anyone other than John, or in the event that there is a law case that would require it to need accessing.
SMARSH themselves, they don't have the right to take our information and sell it to somebody else or anything?
No.
Okay.
Can I say, when I looked at the SMARSH agreement, there were big chunks of it that were not there. where they just referred to our
Right, and I
standard.
responded to your email that the reason it's not, they included the links, you just had to click on the link that took you to their legal terms on their website, because it's a whole bunch of it. I emailed you that last week.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've not looked at those yet. I assume maybe John has.
So I just need to know if the court wants to move forward with allowing the sheriff to do this. Basically, it would eliminate, I'd have to get with payroll and Jalen to take out the stipends for all of these people once the phones are here and activated and moving forward.
How long down the road would that be?
Do you remember what he said, turnaround time in ordering the phones? About a week, I
Yeah.
think, a
Oh, so
week.
it's not that far.
Couple of weeks, I think, to get all the phones in.
And then-
We would have to get a policy for the employees to sign, which I received a sample from FirstNet for another, I think it was maybe Gillespie, maybe, another county's cell phone policy related to something similar that they did as well.
Now, is
I
this,
have one question,
Yes, sir.
just for me. The ongoing SMART contract year in, even with that, are we still gonna be saving that $2,000 a year that we're gonna save?
Yeah, the
It will
6,400.
still come out under what we were funding prior.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if that was for the 39 people that you have on your list, if we add more people, the price then obviously
Per
goes
person,
up.
right,
Correct,
yeah.
right.
that's what I was gonna ask, so the more people you add, the
The
more,
the per person charge.
Right.
And I want to say it's like 100 and, it's a little bit over 100, I believe, per person.
It's still cheaper than the stipend by a little bit.
Yeah.
And by having everyone in the sheriff's department having FirstNet, then they all have priority phone calls in an emergency. So if we lost, I think that's important for them too.
One of the things also that may be beneficial in a cost savings is that the FirstNet, the $49 a month also includes the hotspot availability on their cell phones, and John and I have had a lot of discussion over that, but they would be able to use their phones as a hotspot for internet access wherever they're at.
That's great.
And if FirstNet is everything that they say they are in terms of reliability and coverage and everything, then I would assume that their hotspot service would follow the same as their cell service, so.
there will be no service in downtown Poe.
According to FirstNet, there would be, so I don't know.
Pretty much promise you that. I don't care who it is.
We're way ahead of folks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve FirstNet phones and Smash archiving for the sheriff's department.
Second,
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve FirstNet and Smarsh.
There is an agreement to be signed on the Smarsh.
Okay,
If you want to sign it after court, you can, it's up to you, and then I
it's
can,
on there,
yeah,
okay.
right here.
Is there a cleaner one?
Yeah,
than
let
that
me,
one?
you can send that to your copy, I'll get you a copy.
Okay. Okay. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we got new, for the sheriff's office, new, FirstNet phones and Smarsh archiving. So, moving right along to agenda item 16, Richard L. Jackson County Judge Michelle Mota, Grants Manager, 16A, update on TCEQ, ACOG, Wilson County Collection Facility expansion.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner, Sheriff, everyone present. Just some quick updates. So, in December of 2019, we wrote a grant for the Wilson County Collection Facility expansion. We have since been working through all the fun, little uprisings that have come with that grant agreement and contract. By Commissioner File, we've actually
the initial work on the expansion of the Wilson County Collection Facility. One of the last invoices will be in Brenda's bills today, later on, for your approval in the amount of a little bit over $49,000. Quick little side note, we were identified through ACOG, TCQ, to be prioritized for additional funding in this area. And we have another $17,210 available to us for this particular project. I did confirm with TCQ and ACOG this morning that that is free money to us, basically. I'm working with Commissioner File to revise the original scope of work, including quoted costs from what the commissioner is thinking about doing, putting a building out there to run septic and have a restroom for the employees and available storage for anything needed for barricades as we move forward with centralizing the household hazardous waste events that came to a halt due to COVID. So that $17,210 is what the commissioner and I have been working on for the past week and a half now. Good news is that there's no needed match with that. That is literally free money from TCQ that we have been granted, as long as they approve the revised scope of work.
Excellent.
Commissioner Fowle, do you know when we might, because I think they're waiting on the scope of work, do you know when we
I'll
might
probably
get it?
know something the next day or two. I
Okay.
guess, Lisa, do you happen to know what it would cost if we have to get the septic engineer to design a septic?
It's gonna, could be anywhere from $8,000 to $1,500.
That's another cost that we
It's
need
just
to.
gonna depend on if you go with somebody, a more higher-end septic designer or a smaller,
It'd be a small,
yeah, it's just, it's why that's how it's gonna be based.
Be a very small deal, because just employees out there
Right.
it wouldn't be open to the
just be
public.
one laboratory and one.
They don't even have a bathroom out there.
No, it's true.
So we're putting those costs together, and it would be,
And this would be covered.
yes, it
Okay.
would be, well, we're hoping, that is something that has to still go through TCQ. But this extra money was literally prioritized for Wilson County.
Could we make it big enough to have like, in case they have to operate out of it, if it's, bad weather, have a,
Well, I'm
Office
not
side
Commissioner,
or
I've
one-
been talking about as far as revising that scope to make sure that it's gonna, that I will spin it well enough to get it approved.
We need a slab out there to mount the tire dismounting machine on, since we've moved the tire recycling thing out there, don't we, Commissioner Fowle?
But yeah, right now they have nothing,
Yeah. They don't have anything to work with out there.
just that little bitty building we have with the pull in.
A little portable carport with no concrete, no restroom. It's a wonder we can keep anybody out there, honestly.
I'll review some of their priorities as far as their regional priorities and see how I can word it to
okay,
ensure approval.
okay, thank you. And now we're going to 16B, update on coronavirus relief fund reimbursement.
So this involves the original allocation to Wilson County of $2,075,095 that we applied for almost a year ago. All of that was for COVID-related activities. That has also been a fun adventure that myself and my assistant Gabby has worked diligently on. So over a year ago, we submitted all the certifications and the application forms to receive within a week or 2 weeks, 20% of that $2 million allocation, what came to a total of $415,019. We received that immediately. We started expending it on various COVID activities. Throughout the year, we were advised that none of this money could be used to supplant for already budgeted workers. so forth and so on. What I expect happened with the state is that they were receiving all of these reimbursement requests and realized they had a whole bunch of documentation that their outside auditors had to look at themselves. So in the end of October last year, we got word that all public safety and public health employees' salaries from March 1st through the end of the year last year would be eligible as eligible expenses for this grant program. So I went with that. Gabby and I worked on getting the documentation. We had to provide timesheets. We had to provide payroll registers. We had to provide our payroll policy. I also had to do the calculations of all the fringe benefits, include the non-paid, whether that's holiday leave, sick leave, and any other benefits that are considered benefits. I provided that all to them, including our holiday schedule, because our holiday schedule has quite a bit more holidays than normal private companies have throughout the year. So that gave them the policy that they needed to approve the remaining funding. So on March 10th of this year, we received notification that the Wilson County received the remaining 80%, all of it, which was over $1.6 million. And since then, the county auditor has received that money into the general fund. So I just want to give you that because I know there was some concern that we would get it all, and we did. So over $2 million we received from COVID.
That's outstanding.
Excellent.
Thank you, Michelle. Outstanding job.
Okay, 16C, update on, and I think this is Texas Volkswagen Emissions Mitigation Plan Program, grant and purchasing, and we got 7 vehicles out of that.
Yes, so good news, we've had a couple of special meetings here. All the purchase orders and executed contracts have been received and issued out to Rush Truck Centers. Herman Allen with Rush Truck Centers has those POs and has done the ordering. He did confirm with me last week that it's still slated for March 2022 delivery. March 2022
We went from August to
all 7
December
trucks.
to
To
now
March.
Not
March.
necessarily all at the same time, but he's gonna do his best to get them as close as possible.
The big concern that I have, and I called called Herman from Rush, is guaranteeing that price. You know, you're talking a year away. You know, the way things are going, he said he's gonna try his best.
But once the contracts are signed, I would
He's good,
imagine.
yeah.
I'm hoping so.
I would think once we sign it.
I mean, if that dump truck prices change between now and then, Rush ain't gonna eat it.
He mentioned the price.
I think if we sign the contract, they would have to.
You know?
I mean, that's what a contract is for.
Yeah, it's the price at the time that we ordered it. I've already issued the POs for that price, so
It's not our fault it's taking them that long to get them to us.
Yep. Anything else on that? Okay, 16D, here's a new one. For informational purposes, Wilson County American Rescue Plan.
So there was also a special meeting last week with Congressman Henry Cuellar here, and he did and provided a whole bunch of information that Wilson County is slated to receive about $9.9 million. The fun part of that is we don't know how that's gonna be used, but I can tell you after review of the American Rescue Plan, it's still gonna be COVID related. I actually just looked at a piece, there's gonna be some allocation to states and local governments for housing, rental assistance, and so forth and so on, so we can expect that to come from our friends at the state, either the National Association of Counties or Texas Department of Emergency Management. There's several monies allocated for emergency operations, COVID vaccination clinics, but it's still very much COVID related. I can definitely, I meant to, and I do apologize for that, to really put a list together of what has directly been allocated, and where, so that you all have a better idea of that, of those parameters associated with that general allocation.
It's hard to understand.
Sorry?
It's hard to understand what,
No help
It's
for the
just a lot.
roads.
So
Yes.
there are
I didn't
parts
expect
of the law that such as people who are in arrears for rentals or mortgage or whatnot. As far as the actual stipulations of who is going to be eligible for those, that is still something that the Department of Treasury is working out. Our Commissioner Martin has reached out to, National Association of Counties, hoping that maybe we can provide them some good information on how to set those parameters that would benefit the counties the most. I have reached out to the Texas Department of Emergency Management to ask if they're going to be the administrator of the funds again, like they were with the coronavirus relief fund. I have yet to hear back from them. So, again, this is all kind of up in the air.
Yeah, and I just wanted, just for clarification, just to answer that question regarding the funding. For clarification, so Wilson County has been allocated $9.9 million regardless. All of the other ones, the rental assistance, those are different programs that people in the county can apply for that type of assistance. The allocation for local and local governments has already been set. That's the check that we received last week, or the pretend check. And so now we should be getting 50% of the funding, I believe, in May, and the remaining 50% within the 12 months, so before next May. So then it would be come back to the county to determine, okay, what are we doing with the money from the time that we receive it?
But there will be standards and eligibility criteria with that stuff. There's not gonna be, it's not gonna be a blanket 9.9 million.
Okay.
And it is COVID related, so unless there's something out there, I could not see anything in the law that stated that, but, I also need to go through it a little bit better than what I've done so far, so.
Okay, just out of, if we do not, and we've got till April of 2024,
December 31st of 2024.
September 31st of April?
To use it. It's
Excuse
not
me.
a reimbursement. Yeah, it's not a reimbursement. It's another stimulus allocation to the county.
And if we don't use it all by then?
It's my understanding from what I learned last week was that the money is going to be deposited regardless. It is up to the county then, if the Department of Treasury comes back to the county, that we must be able to provide supporting documentation and reports on how the money was spent, so that they can determine that the money was spent in accordance with the law.
Okay, we don't have to do it periodically? We don't have to show them, this is what we've done? We just have it in case they come
As
ask
of right
us?
now, unless Michelle has come across any of those guidelines, I have not seen any of
I don't know
those.
that those guidelines have been fleshed out and publicized.
I don't think they
Okay.
have.
That's why I say I hesitate to say it's just free for all, because it does clearly state in the law that the Treasury Department is setting those guidelines out for people, for every agency, state, local government, and all the other agencies who stand to benefit from the act.
Okay,
And all, from what I can see, it's all COVID related.
That guidance.
Is it retroactive? I don't know.
Who knows?
You know, can we use it retroactively? I would think that would be an influencing factor that we mentioned
To NACO.
to NACO or to them, whoever's got the most, or both.
Yeah.
but we don't know who's gonna be overseeing it? Not yet?
As far as when we get our allocation now.
Okay,
The guidance from the Treasury is supposed to be available the 1st of May, from what I got
Supposed to be sometime
last
in
week.
May. Yeah.
But the way Congressman Cuellar said, like the schools already they're gonna get their money directly, and they ain't going to the state like they did last time.
Right, and that's because of
What happened last time.
right, and
And that's the
all
way
the
I
words,
took it,
right?
that we
It's
were
all
gonna
about
get the
these
money,
words. Right.
it wasn't gonna, state wasn't gonna mandate. That's the way I took it, but I may be wrong. but-
I'd be surprised, I really would, no one ever gives money away for free, so I just would be cautiously optimistic.
well, it's something we didn't have before anyway.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Okay, agenda item 17, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, 17A. discuss and take action on proposals from Craig Nelson of Clean Environments Incorporated to assess the Phelps Building. Do we want to do both of these at the same time?
Sure.
And B, discuss and take action on proposals from Tony Lutkenhaus from RVK Architects to assess the Phelps Building. Commissioner Martin's been talking to these people.
Okay, Judge Jackson asked me to help define people that could help us do a preliminary assessment on the building to help us determine what the state of the building is. So you should have a copy of the Clean Environments proposal there. The grand total for that's on the back of the first page, $1,311.25. And so this is the time and labor for them to come down here to look at the building, assess what environmental samples they need to take to determine if there's any asbestos present in the building, and to have those samples analyzed, and then to provide us with a brief report on their findings. So, and Building 1 is the main building, and Building 2 is the building that's underneath the shed. And these are probably the maximum number of samples they will find. Of course, till they go in there and look, they won't know exactly how many samples that they need to take, but this is kind of basically a not-to-exceed number. If they only take 20 total samples, then the cost for the samples will be $400. If they got to take 30, well, then it'd be $600. So, anybody have any questions about that?
Who determines how many tests that they'll have to do or where?
The certified asbestos inspector.
Okay. I mean, they determine it needs 20 tests or 30 tests?
Right, exactly. And so these quantities are based on my general building description to him, what I was able to glean, and then based on their experience, I would very well expect that it will be less than the total of 42 samples that are necessary. I don't know.
Kathy, do you have a copy of the contract? Okay.
And I would just say, please, you know what I'm saying, but read it. Much of it is discussing, dollar amounts that may be necessary for this, that, or the other. So you would, get a good idea of the responsibility that, you know, there's a bunch of subcontractors, whether they'll need them, and hopefully they will.
That's the other one. We're on the Clean Environments, this one.
All right, I must not have that one.
Here, I'll give you mine.
There should have been one laid over there.
Okay, I'm looking at the RVK.
We're looking at that one.
Okay, great, thank you. And so this one is really limited to the asbestos.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And just for the record, I did send a request to Mr. Lowe at Phelps to, we had prior knowledge that an asbestos study had been performed in 2017, but they were not able to provide any records showing that, so. He himself couldn't, he digged through files but Jalen mentioned that there was one at the time that she was working there, so.
This 131125 would be like a no more than,
Yes, sir.
and that seems reasonable there, even if they had to do the whole 42 samples. Anybody have any questions on the clean environments? You want to go through the
Yeah.
RVK architect?
So I also contacted RVK Architects. They're a very highly qualified firm that is in the architecture business. I have, for full disclosure, I have personally worked with them with several other projects, primarily at the church that I attend. So in my discussion with Mr. Lukenhaus, you know, we're trying to figure out an economical way to perform this assessment. And so if you look at the second page he's got under item 1A, under his architectural assessment, he has a range of $3,500 to $5,500. And their price would be based on, or their cost actually would be based on the hourly rates that are attached. I think a couple more pages back behind there. That's on about the 6th page. So basically what they would do is they'll send their architectural experts down here to review the building and look at the general condition of the building, determine the suitability and/or condition of the building, basically, is what they would do. And also in our discussions, he was recommending that in B, C, and D, we either have a civil engineering assessment, a structural assessment, or an MEP assessment. And so basically, a civil engineering assessment would be to look at the site, see how everything is, looked at its general condition. And then a structural engineering assessment where structural engineers would come in and look at the building and make sure that it's not falling apart, that it's in serviceable condition. And then the last one was an MEP, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing assessment, which would look at all of those systems individually and figure out how old they are, how much life they have left in them, those kinds of things. I think at this point, probably the best thing for us to do is to do A and C now, which would be a total of about $7,300. And then what I can ask him to do is just take a quick look at the MEP systems and let us know if we really need to go down that path. And so the proposals for his sub-consultants are attached in here. And we can do those at any point in time that we feel like. But I think if we did the architectural assessment and the structural engineering assessment, that would give us a really good idea of whether or not we're going to proceed. And then if we decide that we may go ahead and proceed, then it might be appropriate to do the civil engineering and/or the MEP assessment.
So that one combined with the asbestos testing, we're looking at with just A and C, $8,611.25. Is that correct? That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
A and C.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, A and C.
And I spoke to Mr. Vino this morning, and the money to do these evaluations would come out of our contingency fund, correct?
We do have money budgeted for unexpected expenses in our contingency line item. My only concern would be, should you decide not to proceed with the purchase, we've just put, depending on how much further we go, but at minimum, $8,600 spent for a building that we're not going to purchase. Now, if you decide that we're going to move forward, then that's some negotiating tools where we can recoup some of that money in the cost of the negotiation of the sale.
And also, these reports should help us understand and give us a negotiating tool to negotiate the absolute best price that we can get.
Yes, I think it'd be worth going out and, especially if we do end up purchasing it, it'll be, we can add that to what it's costing us.
I mean, I think that they ought to provide us with a report. I mean.
Well, they haven't, and I don't know why they haven't.
He could not locate it, so he was not the general manager at the time that the test was performed. So there's no record, he can't find any record of, he did send us a
geotechnical report, yeah.
Technical report, which I sent to all of you, and that was regarding the actual structures, but nothing related to asbestos. So I've asked him a couple of times, it's not his intent to try to withhold or keep it from us, they just can't, they don't know the company, they don't have the paperwork, so I'm sure it's been shuffled in the course of them getting ready to move, so.
And like I said, all of these can be used as, if the reports we get from them in the negotiations.
Did they say how long this would take?
Yeah, it's, let's see, which
Say
one?
clear.
He'll be down as soon as we can schedule. I
Clear
think it's
environment?
about a 2-week turnaround on the samples. So within about 30 days or so, we would have the results on that one. And we've got no more than 2 months to finish the architectural assessment and the structural engineering assessment. And actually, I think it'll be done a little bit faster if we don't do the other two at this point.
And is that something that we need to get approval from Phelps for us to go in and do that?
We'll
Or
just-
you've already spoken with them?
No, I have not. We'll just need to coordinate, let them know what we want to do
That
and
was my
schedule a
next question.
time.
Do we have, authority to go over there and
Yeah, well, basically, all we have to do is let them, find out from them and coordinate a time where the folks can come in and do these assessments. I would be highly suspicious if they don't work with us to allow us to do the assessments.
I would too. I can't imagine them not.
No, there's no reason for them not to unless they're really trying to hide something.
And can I ask, these additional contracts on their back are only if RBK decides that needs to be done and then they come back to us? I mean, we're not.
No, only if we direct them to do that for us. In which I'm only recommending right now to do A, the architectural assessment, and C, the structural engineering assessment.
I'll entertain a motion.
Okay? Well, I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Craig Nelson to Clean Environments to do the asbestos assessments for the Phelps building.
And go ahead and do both of them at one time? Can we do both of them even?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay? And then I'll also make a motion to accept the proposal from Tony Lukin House of RVK to assess the Phelps buildings for item 1A, the architectural assessment, and item 1C, the structural engineering assessment.
Motion by Commissioner Martin. Second by Commissioner Wiley. We take the proposal, or go for the proposal for Clean Environments and for RVK Architects. Is there any more discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're going for assessments on the new building. Suggestion by County Attorney Chapman that we table 18. She has more information she has to look over before she can ask us for anything on that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to table item 18, the discussion on abandonment of a county road.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we table agenda item 18. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
So it's been tabled. Okay, now, Lisa, are you ready? Agenda item 19, Leanne Hosek, EMC, 19A, utility permit, A1, permit number 635, Sullen Springs Water Supply Corporation, Precinct 4, County Road 314, review and approve.
You might be able to do all three of those
That's
together.
what I was gonna do. A2, 19A2, permit 636, Sullen Springs Water Supply Corporation, Precinct 4, County Road 314, review and approve. And 19A3, permit number 637, Sullen Springs Water Supply Corporation, Precinct 4, County Road 401, review and approve. Okay. Are these all in one? Okay.
both those acreages with them being over the 10.01. We're just gonna be getting water at both those properties.
Make a motion, we approve these, Judge, number 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we approve 19A 1, 2, and 3. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we've got them all done.
Sorry, Judge, who was the second on that?
Perdola.
Wiley and Perdola.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now we're going to 19B, non-standard plants variances. B1, 5844 FM 539 Precinct 3, Bick? Okay, discuss and take action.
This is the variance that through the Development Review Committee last week. Okay, Ms. Ike owns 2.07 acres out of lot 16 Dove Crossing, located at 5844 FM 539. The original 4.2 acre lot was split in a divorce in 2013, and her ex-husband owns the front part adjoining FM 539. She's wanting to split off 1.2 acres to sell to an adjoining property owner and retain the remaining 0.87 acres. There's no structures on the property to be conveyed. The remaining acreage of 0.87 acres is where Ms. Beek lives in a fifth-wheel trailer, and the septic for it is connected to a mobile home owned by the ex-husband on his tract. So we had a letter from SS Water. Water will not be available on the 0.87 acres, and all other requirements have been met.
It did get a positive review.
Okay, she's
Yes,
living
sir.
on the .87 acres?
Yes, sir.
And she has no, other than an easement, I guess, to get to the road through her
Correct.
ex-husband's? Oh, but that's
She
fun.
can't get water.
No, sir, she cannot get water. So let's say in the future or something, if she ever wants to sell that .87, it will have to be to an adjoining property owner.
Okay, and this is what the 1.2 is going to,
Yes, sir,
one of them.
this,
2 is going to lot
lot
17.
17.
Okay. This one's yours, Commissioner Perdola.
And she's living on the .87 acres now.
Yes, sir.
Right now.
In a fifth wheel. Evidently, she's been living in that since
Where's she getting water?
from
her husband.
his mobile home.
Okay.
Oh, my, yeah.
It's a strange deal.
Okay, what about, I guess she's living in a travel trailer, so what about sewer for her?
It's hooked up to his mobile home.
Okay.
And they're getting into.
And is that considered,
They have a divorce.
that's not considered two residences using one?
No, sir,
Sewers?
it's permissible. They're, Edwin, he said they're allowed to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, because it's a travel trailer.
The only thing is, like if he decides, he gets mad at her about something, he can just turn
we creating more problems for down the road is my question, I guess.
Well, that's not what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is sell the 1.20 to lot 17, the people from lot 17.
Yeah.
What, .87 and the other one, we got, that's,
That's already existing.
yeah, that's not what's being asked. What they're being asked is to sell 1.20 to lot 17.
My question is, it's gonna leave .87 acres, it's not legal to have septic on, or,
It is legal by Edwin, to where you could have two different residents on one septic.
But they can't, what he's asking, but they can't get water. So they wouldn't need a septic because they can't get water.
If down the road, if they wanted to, they could drill a well.
If they can't,
But they'd have to come back to us at that time, these people.
and if they sell it, it's got to be to an adjoining landowner.
all they wanna know is, can they sell this 1.2 acres, replat it and sell it, is that what they're?
That's what she's wanting, and obviously, I think she probably needs money.
The 1.2 acres, the only way you'd have access is have to come through lot 17. He's just actually making his property larger, is what he's doing by 1.2 acres. And we really can't prevent that from happening.
I thought she was selling that 1.2 to a daughter or something.
No.
No, it's still
Going
lot,
to the husband?
No,
No, it's
it's-
going to the
Neighbor.
adjoining lot 17
lots,
property
yeah.
Okay, don't,
owner.
never mind then.
So what kind of motion do you need on this thing?
Just a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Padola, second by Commissioner Fowle, that we approve the permit, or not,
Agree with it, but-
the variance at
There was lots of discussion,
5844 FM 539.
committee.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So it is done. I have a question. I thought we were gonna see something for Archdoaks subdivision.
That's more than likely gonna be on the May, one of the May
Okay.
agendas, because he's in the process of closing on one and close, from,
They haven't given us all of the paperwork yet.
right, yes.
What subdivision?
Archdoke.
That's a new subdivision going in. Okay, we've got all of this done. So, agenda item 20, Eva S. Martinez, County Clerk, minutes.
We have handed those out, Judge, and they have been properly reviewed.
I reviewed them earlier, Judge. I make a motion, we approve them.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Padola, that we approve the minutes of the preceding meetings. Is there any discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so they have been approved. Okay, agenda item number 21, Jan Hartle, County Treasurer, Financial Report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Honestly, it'll take a while to get through all this.
A lot of information.
A lot of information.
Need a motion, Judge?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is it an action item?
It's not an action.
Not an action item.
That's an item?
Nope. Just an information item.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Maybe after I go through it and review it.
Looks good, just lots of
We need to
information.
sign off on it?
I have reviewed her reports.
Sorry?
I have reviewed, these are for the periods of September, October, and November last year, and I have reviewed them.
And Judge, I would need a motion from the thing, so we're gonna sign.
Well, if we're not going to sign them, it's not an action item? I thought accepting the,
Was.
I
Not,
thought accepting the treasurer's
If
report
we're
was.
signing it, it would be, wouldn't it?
not an action item on the agenda.
It is always
It
accepted.
doesn't read as one, but it may be.
I don't believe it's an action item on the agenda, so
It's not on the agenda, that's the same way it's been on the agenda since, we never have taken action on the treasurer's report?
Yes, you know, we signed this affidavit that's on this page.
We all got a sign?
But we don't have to vote on it, we vote on the auditor's report.
Yes. We vote on the bill. It's not.
We have voted on it in the past, I think.
What's that?
I believe we have voted on it in the
Yes,
past.
we have.
So I make a motion that we accept it as presented.
September, October, and November?
Yes, 2020.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Fowle. We accept the treasurer's report for the months of September, October, and November. Is there any more discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So now we're moving right along to agenda item 22, Jalen T. Botiford, Human Resource General Specialist here. Payroll and personnel changes.
All right, Robert Barnett was hired as a corrections making $14.65 an hour, or $32,000 annually effective April 5th. Garrett Hardwick was hired as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department, making $14.65 per hour, or $32,000 annually effective April 7th. Crystal Miller resigned from her position as a corrections officer with the Sheriff's Department effective April 4th. Michael Salazar resigned from his position as a corrections officer with the Sheriff's Department effective March 23rd.
I
And
gave her the other
Ismail
one, it was
Leal
already all
resigned from
signed.
his position as a corrections officer with the Sheriff's Department effective March 23rd as well.
Thank you. There was no line item changes, so that's informational.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, now, agenda item 23, Bender Trevino, County Auditor, bills and financial report, or just bills?
Well, I had, what I was, so just for the record, so after Ms. Hartle completed her financials, or her actual report, so for September, October, November, I had intended to give you a report for the same time period. I just looked at here, and all of the reports that are attached are for September only. I had tons of paper on my desk and just realized I didn't attach October, November. So I can give you this, it's just showing income and expenses for September only. Or I can wait till the next court and give you September, October, November to coincide with hers. Just for the record and the difference, and really I'd like to recognize Ms. Moots. We would not have been able to get to the reports that we've been presented with today if it hadn't been for her balancing and reconciling those 3 months and identifying the areas that needed to be corrected. So she worked very diligently to be able to get us those numbers so that both the treasurer and myself could produce some type of reports for you today. So thank you, Christina, for all of that hard work. She is continuing to work on them, so we should have something December, January, and February, hopefully by the April 26th meeting as well. So she continues to work through those and get through them. So I guess the cover sheet on this does say September through November. However, it is only reflecting September. It's a basic, simple report. It just shows you the first few pages, break out the income, all of the revenues that came in for the month of September by fund, and then starts rolling into expenses as well. So it's your basic income and expense statement. So it's not an action item. There's nothing to be voted on. It's for your information only.
I have a question. The treasurer's report, you said that at the next meeting, we'd probably have January,
December, January, and February, if Ms. Moots can get through.
what would be the ultimate goal as to how far out those would be? I understand that we're catching up. Getting December, January, and February in April, is that going to be kind of standard, or?
Absolutely not. You should
Okay, so
have, by
what would
law-
the standard be?
By law, you should be receiving a treasurer's monthly report for the previous month.
Okay,
And that's what I would anticipate and expect it to be moving forward.
okay, I thought so, I just wanted to be sure, I wanted to hear it.
That is correct. So again, these are just basic numbers. I will provide October and November income, but it just kind of gives you a ballpark view. What I'll probably do in May is provide you, because April will end our 6-month period in our fiscal year. So in May, as I did last year, I'll provide a mid-year review.
He's got it,
that'll
he's got
give
to
you a
sign it.
real
Okay,
clear
so
picture
there
of
was
where we
something
are.
for signature.
Yeah.
The treasurer's report that you guys signed on, just so that you know, that third page, that only reflects cash in bank for the general fund. So that's why I provided you this, so that you could see the breakout of the different funds and the balances in each fund and department, or each fund and department based on budget. have any questions or you want some further breakdown of what some of those line items include, feel free to come by my office and I can break it down for you by looking into the system. Judge, may I move on to bills?
Yes.
Accounts payable bills for this go-around, total $410,206.61. 410,206.61.
I will be glad to ask you some questions sometime.
Sure, not a problem. Is this your original or is this a copy for me? 'Cause it seems like it's.
That's the judge's original.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've got it up here on my desk.
Oh, maybe you didn't have one.
It was this.
Here, let me give him this one because
Okay.
this is the one.
Okay, see, you already signed it?
We can print out. I can have him send the original.
Okay,
We can talk after.
okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn this into.
Commissioner Martin.
Modified September 2020.
Gary. We could just add the signature line right here.
Yeah, you can sign it right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one has a line in it.
It's up to you. Does all the commissioners know about it? Oh, yeah, you can go ahead. It's not gonna, we didn't get anything shut off or anything, did we?
No, no.
What are you doing buying margaritas?
You're like a drunk sailor.
Where is it?
I wish it was. There may be some bills that are not on this report that I may have to review and approve for payment, immediate payment, that we could possibly ratify at the next court. I don't know for certain. That is because, the post office that is managed, post office box that is managed by the treasurer's office has not been checked in over, since February. And, well, had not been checked since February, so a member of my staff went over to get the mail, and there was a lot of mail in there, including some past due bills, so.
Yeah, my post office box, come and get it, they send it back.
And that could be, some of the stuff could have been sent back. I know that it was free stuff, so anyway, working through that, I've asked, Ms. Hartle to turn the post office key over to my office so that a member of my staff can take that duty over and be responsible, making sure that we get the mail every day. So, but the reason I bring that up is to let you know that there may be some that I may have to approve through non-court.
To deal with after the fact.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll get with Christina, because I think there were a few child support stuff from the Attorney General's office in there too for us to review.
Understandable.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Commissioner Martin,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Wiley. We approve the bills for the county auditor. Is there any questions, explanations, comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we have approved the bills. You'll have the signature sheet?
Yes, it's coming.
Okay.
Coming across.
Okay, and this is the agenda item we were all waiting for. Number 24, adjournment at 12:01.